For context, I, female 18, live with my two siblings, female 22 and male 24. And recently, new people moved in right next to us, and they have kids. They were a bit loud, which was a bit annoying, but they were kids, and kids do that. I didn't really have a problem with them until they started ding-dong ditching us. I don't even know if it could be considered ding-dong ditching, because they literally kick the door like they're trying to impersonate the FBI. They hang out in front of our house and do it every 10 to 20 minutes. Keep in mind that they kick hard. My sister was going to call the police in a fit of rage, but I told her no, because talking to their parents or calling the police might make it worse. I don't know the kids' situation at home. Confronting the parents might make it bad for them, but they keep doing it more often and harder. There are dents and scuffs on the door. I don't even know how it's possible because the kids look like tweens, and I'm seriously getting annoyed, along with my siblings. They don't see the security camera right in front of the door, so I know their intelligence is lacking, so I won't yell at them. So I wrote a sign in front of the door, kindly asking them to stop, because my siblings work from home, which is extremely distracting. But it keeps happening. They rip up the sign and spit on it, so I can't take it anymore. I slip on some socks and slippers and go next door to talk to the parents. The mom said it was not that big of a deal. My door wasn't seriously damaged, and they were just kids trying to have fun. And if that's distracting, I should put on some headphones. But my last straw was when these kids messed with my package outside the door and shook it and threw the box against the stairs. I snapped and took screenshots of all the security footage of them being little menaces. I make a poster with their face, the damage they've done to them, and photo evidence of them being menacing. I type out, "Neighbors, be on the lookout. Local doorstep gremlins may terrorize your front door," which I found funny then. I print it out and tape it all over the neighborhood. My other neighbor finds it hilarious because those kids have been doing the same to her, and she confronted the parent too, and the parent did nothing. But today, I got a giant knock on the door, and it wasn't the little snot-nosed kids. It was the mom. She called me a B-word and an idiot for humiliating her kids. She said that her kids were crying and were now too traumatized to go outside. She yelled at me, dropped pieces of the ripped-up poster on my doormat, and walked away. Am I the idiot, or did those kids have it coming? OMG, her kids were crying and were now too traumatized to go outside? So now the mother has to deal with them and be a parent instead of whatever else she had been doing? I found your solution hilarious also, OP. Doorstop gremlins is poetry. You are not the idiot. Right? If she had said that to me, I would have replied, "Good," and slammed the door in her face. Her kids decided to play some stupid games and got some stupid prizes. What did they think was going to happen? Also, I'm sad their mom is allowing this. If she's like this now, I'd hate to imagine what she'll allow in the future once they're teens. Neighborhood justice was served. Good on you, and I hope they stop hitting your door completely. If mom continues, add her picture next to the kids around the neighborhood. Beware angry mother doorstop gremlin. But OP, time to call the police. The mom isn't going to parent them, so they need to get in trouble from someone else. I would call the police every time moving forward and look into the damages they've done to your door. If the mom threatens you, make her know in no uncertain terms you will consider coming back to your home harassment and trespassing, and she's not welcome. Further contact will require more drastic measures. Update. Haha. I didn't expect this to blow up. I'm here to clarify things. Why didn't I call the police in the first place? Well, because they couldn't do much more than give the "don't do this, don't do that" talk. But as soon as I saw what their mother acted like, I saw a reason to humiliate them. Younger kids have a giant fear of being embarrassed and not coming off as cool as they seem. What did I say to the mother? I just said it was highly distracting and disrespectful. I told her that the door had dents and scuffs, and I showed her the video evidence on my phone. I politely asked her to talk to her children and to tell them that this was affecting us negatively, and you already know the answer. Will I call the police if this happens again? Yes, and not 911. It's reserved for real emergencies. And I'm sure there are more serious problems than some neighborhood brats. I'll file a complaint or call a non-emergency line. My dad is getting married in the winter. When he gets married, he will have a young grammar school-age daughter, Luna. And this whole post is about my dad and his fiancée, thinking my maternal grandparents should give his stepdaughter a gift to wear to the wedding. My mom died 4 years ago, and she and dad were still married, and he still has some contact with her family. But since I moved out last year, it has been less than when I lived there. I'm a 19-year-old female, by the way. So what happened is my grandparents bought me this really sweet locket for my birthday. My dad and his fiancée were living together at the time, and they brought me out to dinner to celebrate. Luna also heard her mom ask about my locket and who bought it for me. Luna was suddenly excited and talking about how they were about to be her grandparents too, and if they would buy her one. My dad said they probably would, and we'd ask them, meaning he and I would. I looked at him like he was crazy, but he ignored me. He did ask my grandparents later, and they said no. They even asked him why they would buy her something. They have no relationship with her and will likely only see her occasionally. He was cranky with them for their response, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. So my grandparents helped me and my friends move into an apartment together over the summer. They also helped us get set up with some stuff. This bothered my dad's fiancée a lot because they're yet to meet her or Luna and made no effort to do anything for Luna's birthday. So she and my dad told them they would be invited to the wedding, which they must accept, and they must give Luna something sweet before the wedding to symbolize her being adopted as a grandchild by them. Now, again, these are my mom's parents, not my dad's. My grandparents told them it would not be happening. Fast forward, and my dad and his fiancée have complained about it constantly. My grandparents warned me that drama was going down over their refusal. My dad and his fiancée said I should talk to my grandparents and tell them to knock it off and to treat my sister better than they are. I told them they shouldn't be such greedy idiots and that I would not ask my grandparents that. I told them Luna wasn't my sister, and even if she was, it would not obligate my grandparents to do anything for her unless they were my dad's parents. We got into an argument over me calling them greedy idiots. They were offended and told me I was an idiot to say that about Luna too. Am I? Not the idiot. Your dad and his fiancée are insane. In what world do they think your grandparents owe Luna anything or are anything to Luna? They're greedy. Yes, you're also correct. This girl is not your sister. Dad's not married yet. You're an adult and won't live under their roof. I genuinely can't imagine having the nerve to go to the parents of a woman who died and say, "We're your new daughter and grandchild. Forget about your child. Give us your money." He seriously has some nerve to go to OP's maternal grandparents and basically try to replace their daughter. He needs to get it in his head that the thing that made OP's mom their daughter is that they raised the woman, not that she was married to OP's dad. Jesus, what is wrong with these people? Luna is nothing to them. In addition to stepmom's parents, Luna's bio dad's parents, and OP's dad's parents, the only reason to be this way about OP's mom's parents is that they must be richer. Now, OP is an adult, and dad is remarried, so he has no more access to the fringe benefits of richness. He's trying to shoehorn Luna into the love and affection of strangers to get back into the country club. I agree. Luna's mother feels entitled to OP's grandparents, even though they have nothing to do with her. OP, your dad and his fiancée should just buy Luna a locket themselves, if they want her to have one so badly. Your maternal grandparents owe her absolutely nothing, and it's bizarre, and yes, greedy, that your dad is acting like they do. Seriously, she's 6. It doesn't have to be a super expensive one. Heck, your dad should get her one as a statement or commitment of him being her new stepdad. Her mom gets a ring, and she gets a locket. Perfect kid logic. When I first became a grandmother, I started the tradition of picking nicknames for my grandchildren. Most of my grandkids are now in their teens. I still call the teens the same nicknames I gave them as newborns. There's a WhatsApp group with me and my husband, our children, and their spouses, where we exchange photos and other updates. When my 9th grandchild was born, I was very excited when my son announced her name in the evening. I spent that night thinking about what nickname she would have. It's a very special moment for me. The following day, I greeted everyone in the WhatsApp group, announced the nickname I chose for my granddaughter, and said I hoped they all loved it as much as I did. I nicknamed each of my granddaughters after a colorful fish species from my native language, not the English version. My son's wife immediately replied in the group text that they had carefully chosen my granddaughter's legal name, and everyone would be calling her that. And the nickname I chose sounded too much like a name instead of an endearing nickname. Admittedly, the nickname I picked has been consistently on the top girl names list in my language in the last 3 years, so I guess it's valid for her to assume it sounded like a name change, but that wasn't my intention. My feelings were hurt. I didn't reply anymore. Thankfully, my daughter saved the day by saying that I meant the gesture out of love, and it's always been a special thing that I have a unique nickname for each of my grandchildren. Eventually, that topic wasn't brought up anymore. I've seen my son and his family a few times since, and I only call my granddaughter her legal name. However, my relationship with my son's wife was never the same again. She used to take my phone calls and reply to my text messages. Since that day, she stopped answering my calls and would only rarely acknowledge my messages in the WhatsApp group. It's been 3 years. Somebody asked if I ever apologized for attempting to nickname my granddaughter, and of course I didn't think it necessitated an apology because, 1, I never insisted on using the nickname, and 2, it was only my son and his wife who ever objected to me giving their kid a nickname. All my other children openly and kindly let me call their kids the special nickname I decided on every single time, and well into several years. Am I the idiot for nicknaming my granddaughter? You got your feelings hurt because someone didn't agree to a tradition that you started. That's not a tradition. A tradition is hosting Thanksgiving dinner. This is entitled. It's a very special moment for me. Why are you trying to make it about you? Just because the others let you do it doesn't mean your son and his wife have to. Also, it strikes me as a really passive-aggressive way to steal the thunder away from the new baby and the baby's parents. You are the idiot. I agree. I don't understand giving a nickname before you've met someone. Seems controlling. Also, you don't announce the nickname anyway. If you start calling a kid a nickname and others like it, it'll just happen. And if it doesn't, oh well. This lady is on a whole other wavelength. Lady, just because everyone else followed your entitled behavior doesn't make it any less entitled. Your daughter-in-law just called you on it instead of playing along like you wanted. What's wrong with calling your grandchildren their actual names? Why do you have to come up with a different name for them? I can't imagine why you feel you should get to pick nicknames for your grandchildren. How would you feel if your mother-in-law decided she had the right to give your children their names, and each of them are fish names? It's the parent's choice. You should have apologized. I think this is beyond ridiculous, but my boyfriend is angry, and I need some neutral opinions. My boyfriend of almost a year, 24, was staying at my, 22 female, house last night after going out with his friends and was a bit tipsy. We were having a conversation about a tennis tournament. I'm a huge tennis fan, and he randomly asked me if I thought he could beat Rafael Nadal in a cage fight. I honestly thought he was joking and laughed and said no. I thought he was messing around, like those surveys that say 20% of Americans think they can fight a bear or something. My boyfriend's a strong guy and goes to the gym regularly, but Nadal's one of the greatest athletes of all time and would be ridiculously fit, even if he's a bit older now. My boyfriend took huge offense to this. He said I was undermining him as a man, by saying a 30-something-year-old could beat him in a fight, and it's as if he told me another girl was prettier than me. I clarified that I think my boyfriend is a strong, handsome guy and is very, very fit, but I don't think he could beat a professional tennis player in a cage fight, just like I don't think I look like a professional model. This discussion lasted for 5 minutes until I realized he wasn't joking, and I just told him that I thought he would win the fight to end it. We watched a movie, and I thought he had forgotten about it, but then he went to sleep in the living room, refused to speak to me, and was still angry in the morning after he sobered up. He told me I was an idiot, rude, and he needed time to himself, then just left after eating breakfast. He hasn't responded to my text since then, other than yes or no answers, and to tell me that I need to seriously reconsider how I spoke to him. This seems blown out of proportion, and we've never had an argument like this before. Is there some dating rule about this that I've never heard of? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Logic doesn't matter when it comes to ego. You don't need to reconsider anything. He needs to seriously reconsider how he deals with his fragile ego being bruised. Leave him alone until he gets over himself, and don't let him emotionally bully or manipulate you over this matter. Unless he comes back and apologizes to you for being a jerk while intoxicated, I'd seriously think about this relationship. You needing to seriously reconsider how you spoke to him? This is a red flag, and he's still upset after he was sober. You've got to leave this person before wasting any more of your precious time with them. OP, your boyfriend is childish. There's an ongoing joke between me and my wife as to whether or not I can beat a wolf in a fight. She doesn't think I can. I laugh it off. It's a non-issue. That's all. But certainly never going to be proven one way or another. So who cares? It's the same thing here. In fact, it's even more ridiculous because I'm sure the odds of your boyfriend having a cage fight with Rafael Nadal are even lower than my odds of one day fighting a wolf. I, 26 male, recently drove my nieces and nephew, tween female, pre-tween male, female kindergartner, to their summer day camp because my brother had a doctor's appointment and I was available. Now, I'm very strict about safety in my car, and I especially don't tolerate anyone not wearing their seatbelt properly, which goes double for kids. That day, my nieces and nephew decided to be difficult and refused to buckle their seatbelts. I refused to start the car until they did. In the end, I had to video call my brother at the doctor's office waiting room and had him threaten to ground them. We were 15 minutes late for camp. After the fact, my brother told me he was frustrated with me because I made them late for no reason. He told me that we rode around in the back of our parents' pickup truck all the time and turned out fine. This is true, and that it was a short ride, so it wouldn't have been a big deal. He said I have a stick up my butt and needed to lighten up a little, that I have no right to discipline his kids, and he just called me a bad guardian in general. He's probably right that nothing would have happened, but I feel like he's being too dramatic about 15 minutes of lateness. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You didn't make his kids late. He did, when he taught them not to wear their seatbelts and then asked someone else to drive them someplace. They could easily have put on their seatbelts and got to camp, but that wasn't their decision. I'm retired, and seatbelts were mandatory here when I was a child. Your jurisdiction must really hate children. Yes, indeed, we rode around in the back of pickup trucks. It's also true that married women weren't able to have credit in their own names. It's also true that people used to buy, own, and sell other people. It's also true that we used to pour the contents of night pots into the streets. Times change. Your car, your rules. I see where those little idiots get their attitudes from. Your brother is an idiot.